This training module covers OWASP A6, Sensitive Data Exposure. The module is divided into 5 sections: Risk Profile, Example Attack Scenarios, Preventative Measures, Discovering Vulnerabilities, and Reporting Incidents. While an uncommon vulnerability, sensitive data exposure can have a serious impact on the business. When building an application, consider the type of data it will be handling. If the data is sensitive, take time to consider who can gain access to the information, both internal and external, how those potential attackers could exploit the application, and what you and your team can do to mitigate those vulnerabilities. Take a minute to review all of the information on this slide. When you are finished, resume the video. Let's review a couple of attack scenario examples. In the first scenario, a site doesn't use SSL on all of its authenticated pages, which allows the attacker to access the user's private data. In the second scenario, the password database is hashed but not salted. However, a file upload flaw allows the attacker to download the entire database and crack the unsalted passwords. Pause the training video here to review these examples if needed. Covering all of the issues related to unprotected, sensitive data and how to prevent all of those issues is beyond the scope of this training. That said, there are some things that you can and should do to protect sensitive data. 1. Consider the threats you plan to protect the data from. 2. Don't store more sensitive data than needed, and don't store it longer than necessary. 3. Ensure strong cryptographic algorithms and proper key management are in place. 4. Encrypt passwords with cryptographic algorithms that are specifically designed for passwords, such as bcrypt. And lastly, disable autocomplete on forms that collect sensitive data, and disable caching for pages that contain sensitive data. The first step in discovering sensitive data vulnerabilities is to determine what data is sensitive. Once you and your team have determined that, consider these questions. Is any of this data stored in clear text long-term, including backups of this data? Is any of this data transmitted in clear text, internally or externally? Remember that internet traffic is especially dangerous. Are any old, weak cryptographic algorithms used? Are weak crypto keys generated, or is proper key management or rotation missing? And lastly, are any browser security directives or headers missing when sensitive data is provided by or sent to the browser? This concludes the OWASP A6 Sensitive Data Exposure Training Module. More information can be found at the links listed on this slide. Materials for this module have been derived and adapted from OWASP under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license, which can be viewed at the link listed on this slide.